Hi you guys, and welcome to today's lesson. We are going to talk about the volume of prisms and cylinders. But let's go back to a previous lesson. We're going to talk about the surface area real quickly. The surface area you can consider a container. That was, for instance, a soda can. The actual material that has that can right there. That's the surface area. The volume we're going to get to today then is the space inside the container, so the liquid inside the can. There's an example right here that shows us the pen right here. As opposed to just doing the surface of the area of each face on this prism, we're going to look at inside. How many little cubes can I fit inside this prism? So this is 5 units. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This depth is 3 units, 1, 2, 3. And the height is 4 units. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's kind of like the stories in a building. On the first floor, I've got 15 rooms. On the second floor, I've got 15 rooms. Third floor, 15 rooms. Fourth floor, 15 rooms. So if you look at it this way, 4 times 15 rooms, because I've got 4 floors and 15 rooms on each floor, 60 rooms. In this case, we're talking about 60 units cubed. And if I look at 5 times 3, that's my 15, and then times the 4, and there is my volume of that prism. So if we look at our nice formula right here, the volume of prism, the whole thing now, is the area of the base, which is that was the 5 times 3 from up above, times the height. So the area of the base times the height, and we're going to reference the area of the base with a big B. So there's the formula right there. Volume is equal to area of the base times the height. So an example we can look at, my base in this case, we can look at it as this one right here. That's 5 times 10, so that's the area of my base, times my height. And my height is obviously 6 right there. So 5 times 10 is 50, and 50 times 6 is equal to 300. Now up above in my building, so to say, my prism, I didn't have units, so I just said units cubed. This time I do have units. Meters, meters, and meters. Well, if I think about meters times meters times meters from your algebra class, that is meters cubed. So again, the area of the base times the height. We'll try a couple more. Area of the base. Sometimes it helps to shade in the base like that, so I know area of the base is 25 times my height, which is also 5, so we've got a cube right there, so 125 centimeters cubed. Now we've learned from our surface areas that sometimes my base is this one right here. Well, that's okay. The formula is still area of the base times the height. So the area of this base that I just shaded this time is 6 times 4, which is 24. And then times the height, so let's pretend that our prism has fallen on its side. The height is 9 right there. And 24 times 9 is equal to 216, and in this case, feet cubed. Now here, we'll look at 7 times 4, and it doesn't have those nice three-dimensional markings to show the base right there. But remember, for our prism, the top and the bottom, the bases are congruent. So if this is 7, I know that's 7, and if this is 4 here, I know that's 4 there. So that's still a base for me up here. So volume is equal to area of the base times the height. Volume is equal to my base is 7 times 4, and then my height is 5. 7 times 4 is 28, and 28 times 5 is 140 inches cubed. Here I've got a triangular prism. Now remember, we've got to go back to our area formulas, and the volume formula is still this, area of the base times the height, but in this case I'm going to put some parentheses for the area of my base right here. The area of a triangle is little base times height divided by 2. So if I look at my figure, there's my right angle that we're looking for base and height. So my little base is 8 right there. My height is 6 right there, divided by 2. That gives me the area of that triangle down there on the bottom. And then the height of my prism is 3. So 8 times 6 is 48. 48 divided by 2 is 24. And 24 times 3 is 72 feet cubed. So again, make sure you take your time when you see the triangular prisms to make sure the area of the base is that little base times the height then divided by 2. Same process for this one. There's a little right angle right in there. So I always write down the formula. Very helpful, so I can just plug in what I have, solve for what I need. Area of my base, so 7 by 7, 7 times 7 divided by 2, so 49 divided by 2, and then times the height, which is 10. Now up here, if I look at this one, 8 times 6 is 48, 48 divided by 2 is 24. That was nice. 7 times 7 is 49. 49 divided by 2 is not so nice. But remember, you can also cancel. 2 goes into 10 5 times. So now I end up with 7 times 7 times that 5, which is 245 inches cubed. That was the volume of a prism. Now here's the volume of a cylinder, which works the same way, but we just convert our formula into circles. So here's my cylinder, area of my base, which is now a circle, times the height. But the area of a circle is r squared pi, and the height still stays as h. So here's your formula. V is equal to r squared h pi. Again, always helpful to write down the formula. Volume is equal to r squared, my radius is 2, so 2 squared times 3 pi. 2 squared is 4, 4 times 3 is 12, so 12 pi feet cubed. So our cylinder is falling on its side. That's okay. We can still write down the formula. My radius is still 1. Even though it's falling on the side, it doesn't make a difference. So 1 squared. My height is 5 pi. 1 squared is 1. 1 times 5 is 5, so 5 pi. Most times you are going to leave your answer in terms of pi. If they ask you to multiply by 3.14, then you get your answer, which is going to be 15.7. And inches cubed. Most of the times you will prefer that answer right there. Now be very careful. On this one, still my formula, r squared h pi. But this time, this refers to the whole diameter right here. So a lot of times, we've done many problems with just the radius, so we assume that the radius is 4. Make sure you pay attention. My diameter is 4, so my radius is 2. So 2 squared times my height, pi. 2 squared is 4. 4 times 10 is 40. So 40 pi meters cubed. So that's the formula for volume. Area of the base times the height, and we just converted the formula for the cylinder. Now we're going to do a couple problems that add some bonus material from previous chapters and information. This time I've got the volume. They gave me the volume. I need to find this dimension right here. Well, the best part is you still write down the formula. Now the area of my base, which is this right here, is 12 times x, so 12x. My height I know is 13. Oh wait, I have the volume, so I can plug that in too. So now what you're going to do is you're going to work backward. They gave you the volume. You've got to find what that dimension is right there, that depth. So I can do 12 times 13, which is 156. So 156x. Divide both sides by that 156. And 936 divided by 156 is 6. So x equals 6. Now be very careful. I'm not finding a volume, so my units are not meters cubed. I'm finding a one dimension here. So this is 6 meters. That's one thing to note when working backward when they give you the volume. The other thing that we've worked on before is they say that this diameter here for the cylinder is 8. Well, if I think about this, that's a right angle right there. And if my diameter is 8 and this diagonal here is 17, if you go back to your Pythagorean triples, I can figure out that the height is 15 from the 8, 15, 17 triple. And I'm sure that you'll be paying attention to those triples again. So here's my formula. It's a cylinder this time, so r squared h pi. My radius is not 8, it's 4, be very careful. My height is now 15 and pi. And 16 times 15 is 240 centimeters, pi centimeters cubed. Now let's say you didn't know the Pythagorean triple. Remember, you've got your Pythagorean theorem, slide down a little bit here, which is a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. And again for that one, I've got my hypotenuse, which is 17. I've got one of either the a or b, it does not make a difference, so 8 squared plus b squared. That's 64, that's 289. Subtract that 64 from both sides and you get 225, and then the square root of that is going to be 15 for our purpose here since we need a length.